There's so many ways to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready.
Hey cuties, and welcome back to another CC haul. Today I have quite a few items for your male and your female Sims. As always, you can find links to everything in the description down below. I'll also make sure to link you to a playlist full of my previous CC hauls if you're still in need of more CC after today's video. But without further ado, let's get straight into this. I hope you're all doing well. We have 270 CC items today, so it's gonna be a bit of a longer video. Make sure you grab a snack and a drink and whatever you need to be comfy for the next few minutes, and let's just sit back, relax, let's talk about life, let's have a look at some cute new CC that we're missed out on. I was gone for quite a few months, so there is a lot of CC that I accumulated for this video. I decided to split up all of the CC that I missed out on in 2 videos because we would have just been here for a whole eternity if I put it all into one CC haul. So I feel like this is the best kind of like middle way. I also sped up the video a little bit, so if it's faster than usually, that would be why. I think it's still at like the speed where you can follow everything though. I also made sure to show off less of the swatches for hairstyles and clothing items because that just can take up quite a long time, especially with clothing items. I love going through a lot of the swatches, but we're kind of doing a minimized version of that today. I think there's still enough that I show off that you can get an idea of what you're getting with a CC, but not so much that we'll be here for a whole hour looking through all of the swatches, you know. I had to find that like middle ground where we're all gonna be happy with it but not drained at the end of this video. I also hope you've been doing well in the last few weeks. I came back from the UK almost 2 weeks ago now, and my boyfriend came home with me. He lives in the UK, if you didn't know about that. I feel like I always talk about it, but if you didn't know, that's what happened, and he's gonna leave again in a few days. So I mean, I would say we're making the best of it, but it's just been so rainy. Like literally every single day in the last few days, it was just so stormy and rainy, which I love that weather, but he is a bit more of an outdoorsy person than me. So hoping he's not feeling too cooped up because there's not that much you can do. I mean, you can go for walks in between rain showers, but it also feels a little unpredictable. I don't know why. It's like my weather app says one thing for the next day and then it changes within a few hours. Like the predictions are all over the place, so that's what we're dealing with. But I love this kind of weather. Like, if you know me, I love autumn. It's just my favorite season, so anything that has to do with like stormy, rainy days, I'm obsessed. I just think it's so cozy. But I have quite a few things to do both for uni and then obviously getting back into recording videos. That also takes up quite a lot of time, so I feel like I can't do the things right now that I would usually love doing on a Saturday on a rainy day, because I love just reading in bed when it's this gloomy. I think it is so cozy, and there is quite a few books that I've taken out from my library right now that I want to get to, that I'm really excited for, but some of them are a bit longer, and I'm not the type of person to read a lot of long books. I feel like 300 to 350 pages for me is the sweet spot. I mean, they can be shorter. I'm fine with a short book, but I feel like there's a point where I get to in a book where I'm like, okay, you could have compromised this a bit. I don't know if it's because I'm impatient or whatever, but I feel like around the 300 page mark, you know, is where I'm comfortable with books, where I'm like, okay, this had like enough pages for me to get a good idea of the characters and the story and whatever. But I think it's also because I read thrillers and not fantasy books, because I know that fantasy books are usually quite a bit longer, which in some cases I feel like makes sense if you have to like build up the world and, you know, explain a few things, but I don't know if it justifies like 700 pages, you know. And I just get bad with it. I get like so intimidated by a long book, and I don't really know why. I feel like I would just lose interest, even though it hasn't happened when I read longer books, but I just love that feeling of like completing a book. So if the book is twice as long, it will just take twice as long, and I don't get that like gratification from it quite as fast, which maybe that's where the issue is. I would also say I'm not really a quick reader. I think I'm actually fast-ish at reading the words, but because I am easily distractible, I'm like reading something and then I look out the window or I look at my cats, or I don't know, I start just doing random stuff and then I get distracted and have to read the same paragraph a million times because I keep forgetting where I am. Like I look out the window and then I'm trying to find my place in the book. It's just, on some days I can sit and read really quickly if I'm very invested in the story and like my mind is in the right place, but most times I just get distracted and it takes me way longer than it should to finish a book. So maybe that's why long books to me are a bit like, I don't know what it's about that I feel like as a kid I could get through books so quickly even if they had more pages. I think it's just because maybe like your imagination is a lot better or more vivid as a child, so you're really like in the book as if it's a movie and you probably don't get distracted quite as easily. I don't know. You tell me how fast of a reader you are if you read books. I find it very interesting because there's like so many adults that I talk to that are like, oh, I haven't read a book since I was a child or since I had to at school, and I'm like, what? Like how do you even, I don't know, to me that's so like crazy, but I guess it does make sense because it's not something that you just naturally gravitate to. But I feel like to me that's as crazy as someone saying they haven't watched a movie since school. I'd be like, what? Even though admittedly I'm not that good at watching movies, I'm more of like a series type of girl. It's very weird because if I see that a movie takes 3 hours or 2.5 hours, I'm like, oh, how would I sit through all of this time and not get distracted? But then I could comfortably sit here and watch a show all day that takes a lot longer, but the episodes are shorter, so the logic isn't quite adding up here. But I'm sure there's some logic behind it. I think it's just because like within one episode of the series it's way faster moving than a movie, because a movie knows it has like the 2 hours of time or 2.5 hours to tell the story, and then a show really has to like keep you entertained throughout the 40 minutes of an episode, so there's just more stuff happening. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making things up, but that's how it feels like to me. So if I find a good show, I will just literally watch through all of it, and I love that. I've recently been rewatching Ginny and Georgia. I think the 3rd season came out recently. I watched that when I was at my boyfriend's and he was at work, and then he just walked in when I was watching it one night and was like, just actively watching it. I was like, oh, do you like this? Are you interested? Do you want to watch this with me? So we started again from the 1st season, and it's really funny because I watched it like years ago, and my memory is so bad. Like I remember when he watched in on me watching an episode, he would ask me about things and like be like, oh, why is this like this, or why is she like this, or whatever, and I was like, I can't remember. I'm watching this just as if you would start watching in the 3rd season because I don't remember anything. So me rewatching it is funny because there's things where I'm like, oh, true, this happened, or like this now makes sense why it ended up like that in the 3rd season. And it's just funny because I would never on my own rewatch a show, I don't think. Maybe it's things that I've watched like super long ago, but usually I just like new things. Like I don't usually rewatch things or reread books. And I think it's just because I don't think I remember, but then as soon as I start watching things again, I remember them as they happen kind of thing. Like if you'd ask me now, I wouldn't remember anything about it, but whilst watching it, it all clicks back into place and I can just tell what's going to happen next, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to happen next, and then this, and then this. So I think it gets a bit boring and repetitive for me, even though maybe for some shows it would make sense if I'd rewatch episodes just to refresh my memory and then go into the new season, but I don't have time for all of that. Okay, there's just so many shows that I could be watching that are new instead of rewatching stuff I've already watched. But anyways, that's that about me watching things or reading books. There's also like a lot of games. I think I talked about them in the last week's video. There's so many games coming out this year, or like until the end of this year, that I am so excited about, and I feel like I'm gonna have very little time to play them just because I'm doing a lot of things like on the site now that require a lot more time from me, and I'm just itching to like fall in love with a game and just be playing it for like hours on end, or like whole weekends and just non-stop, you know, gaming. And I think it will happen with some of those games. A lot of them come out like during Christmassy time, so a lot of things will calm down by then a bit, and maybe I can find a few weeks to just, you know, sit here and game, because I love that feeling. I mean, nothing's better to me than if I find a new game and I'm like absolutely obsessed with it. And recently it only happens with farming sims. I think it's because there's more of like achievements that you can collect and like new things you can unlock, and I feel like that's very rewarding to my brain. Whilst I also hope that with Paralives coming out, maybe that can like reignite my love for simulation games. It's just I'm a bit like, I don't know, I'm just a bit about them. Like I started actually after last week's video, or maybe before that, I can't remember, I started a new save file in The Sims, and I'm actually pretty excited because I started a legacy. I currently can't remember what it was called or who it was by. If someone is interested, just, you know, leave a comment and hopefully I'll know what you mean and find the challenge. I started like a whole Google Doc for myself because I love doing that when I start a new Sims legacy challenge. I just like make the rules all pretty, and like all the goals are in a list that I can just tick off so I can keep track. And I don't know, just the prettier it looks, the more inclined I am to go back to it. And I actually really enjoyed it because the first generation, you kind of start with nothing. I think you have like 5,000 simoleons and you can build a house, but I didn't put anything in it because it said you fill your home with things that you craft or find on the streets or like on flea markets. And I have never really done that, and it was very interesting because I didn't know how many things you could find. And I honestly, I don't know if it's because I have built CC in or buy CC in the game, and that's why I keep finding it in the recycling bins or dumpsters around the town. I don't know if that's why I find them, and usually you wouldn't, and it's a bit of a cheat, but I found quite a few items in there. Then I crafted some items, I went to the flea market. It was actually really fun because I've never played the game like that, and I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. The house is very wacky looking, but it is what it is. I feel like I need to make an exception though for when she has children, because I think only after having a certain amount of kids you're supposed to move out to a different town, and then you can just build your home however you want. And I feel like for a baby crib, I don't know where I would be finding one of those. Like I've not seen any on flea markets or whatever, so maybe I need to actually go and buy that one just in the game and kind of just close my eyes a bit on the rules and be like, this is fine. But yeah, that was actually really fun doing that. I don't know, I had gave me a lot of enjoyment. I think it's also because there's goals that I can follow, and there's also a few new gameplay things after the last time I played that they added, and that is always interesting, even though I don't know, I just still have the same feeling with The Sims 4. They all fall kind of flat to me, and I can't really explain why. I think it's just because everything just feels easy. Like even if they put new challenges in, they seem very easy to accomplish or like pointless to accomplish. I don't know how to explain it. It's like in previous games, it was way more fun and challenging to do certain things and like have the fears. For example, was that Sims 2 or 3? I feel like 2, but I can't, don't hold me to that. Like I said, my memory is terrible. But I love those things. And I don't know, maybe in Paralives, there's a bit more thought put into things because they've developed that game for ages. Like even after they made it public that they're working on it, it's been ages since then, and that gives me hope that it's very, you know, well thought out and playable and not in the super early stages. If I remember correctly, it is coming out into early access, but I could be wrong on that. I believe it is, who knows, we'll find out. And it's also nice because it is during the Christmas time, so I feel like it's just kind of like when I was a child and I would get expansion packs for The Sims for Christmas, and I went home and was all excited about playing it. Maybe it will give me that sort of feeling. I'm still a bit undecided about the graphics of Paralives though, if I'm completely honest. I love how I think they're called Paras, right? Like the Sims of Paralives. How they look, I think they look quite cute. I like that style, but sometimes the world looks a bit, I don't know, unrefined to me. I don't know if it all works together, but I feel like I'll only know that once I play it myself and see how it all looks in reality. I don't know. It's weird to explain, but like sometimes games do look beautiful, but it just doesn't really do it for me. I think a lot of people had that with The Sims 4 because they wanted like a super realistic looking simulation game, and I think I'm more on the side of loving the cartoon version, which maybe I'm in the minority with that. I didn't think I was going to be like that either, because I loved The Sims 3 when it came out and I thought it looked realistic even though it doesn't. But that's just, you know, the realism we had back in the days for games. So I love that, but I think the cartoon version just makes it a lot more timeless. Like, if you commit to a style like that, it's the same as like a pixelated style for games. If you commit to that, it's just so timeless, because it's not like you have to make games like that. You know, you're not trying to make it look super realistic. You're just leaning into one art style, and then doing that well just makes a game really nice and timeless to me, if that makes sense. And just really, I don't know, I'm just really hoping that Paralives, once I get my hands on it, will just be something exciting. We'll see. Let me know if you're still here. Congratulations. Let me know if you're excited for Paralives, or what you think about the art style of it, or things that you would like to see happening with Paralives. I'm kind of curious to see how the Sims community reacts to it, because I feel like with Inzoi coming out, some Simmers have like leaned into it a lot, and then others have completely ignored that it got released, and that's just very interesting to me to see like who does what. And I'll be very curious to see how it goes with Paralives, because I feel like a lot more people have been excited for it because it was announced so much earlier. But anyways, the video's coming to an end real soon here. I need to stop all of this rambling. Hope you enjoyed all of the CC, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
But why does it feel like